Okay, so today we're gonna have to speak a little bit about having baby, and a little bit about I was thinking a story, and a story also about the special day Gimel Tammuz, and story about. So we'll try to. So I heard a story today actually of someone that didn't have kids for many years, and he went to the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, asked for a blessing. So Alter Rebbe said, "I can help you. You have to go to Shlomo Karlin." Shlomo Karlin was Karliner. He was a friend of the Alter Rebbe. He was a student of the Maggid. So he travels all the way to Shlomo Karliner from Karlin, and he goes and he has the way he worked with his people coming into audience with him. He was very wild. So this guy was waiting there for 2 weeks or for a while, and then finally the guy looks for him. Oh, he wants you to meet you. So he goes into his office, and the rabbi asks him, "Well, what are you doing in the city? He says, I'm here to ask for a blessing for kids. I don't have kids many years. Me and my wife are looking we want to have kids." So the rabbi says, "No problem. 300 ruble. I mean, it's a very big amount. In those days in Russia, it was like $100,000, a big amount of money. 300 ruble, you give, you have a kid." This guy, he really wanted a kid, but he loved his money even more, right? So he's like, "Come on, 300. Let's do 150, 300." So I was like, "Yeah, this is the deal." He's like, "Okay, fine. I'll have to think about it." He goes home. He goes to his wife. He's like, "No, you got a blessing?" So he says, "Listen, I was by this rabbi hanging around. He finally tells me 300 ruble. Come on, seriously, I'm not going to give him." So his wife said, "What do we gain without having all this money and all this property? You're a rich guy. What do you gain in a few years when you die? No one's going to get anything. You have to have at least one kid, right?" So he's like, "You know what? You're right." After his wife convinced him, he takes all of his belongings, his savings, goes to the rabbi's 300 ruble, puts it on the table, and says, "You know what? I'm ready to give you all the money for a kid." The rabbi says, "Sorry, too late." Like, "What do you mean? Too late? Sorry." No, too late. That's it. So he goes home. He's all sad. He's all upset. He missed his opportunity. And then eventually he goes back to Alter Rebbe. So the Alter Rebbe asked him what happened. So he told Alter Rebbe that the whole story from beginning to end, every single detail. So Alter Rebbe said, "You know what happened? You know what happened? You embarrassed the Talmud Chacham many, many years ago. You embarrassed the righteous person. Because you embarrassed him, therefore, you can't." It says in the Gemara, I think, that if someone embarrasses the Talmud Chacham, he loses his abilities to have kids. So you embarrass the Talmud Chacham, you have to. Huh? Okay. Obviously, Talmud Chacham. Don't mess with Avi. So the point is that he that's why he couldn't have kids. So what's the point? It says in the Rambam that if someone embarrasses the Talmud Chacham, he has to pay him a litra. A litra means around 300 ruble of gold. So in the times of Russia, it was like the amount of 300 ruble. So the exact same price. That's the price of 300 ruble. So the Alter Rebbe explained him. That's the reason. So he asked the Alter Rebbe, if that's the case, why can you do this? Why couldn't I do it the next day? Why couldn't I do it with you? So Alter Rebbe says very simple. The person you embarrassed, I forgot his name, he was a teacher of the Alter Rebbe. Because he was a teacher of the Alter Rebbe, it's a rule that he can't forgive him because it was his teacher. The Shlomo Karliner could forgive. Get it? So okay, so the Alter. So according to the story, that mentions the idea of the class of a litra zav. He does say that. So the point is that exactly the point what you said. The day that he came to Shlomo Karliner, that day was the yahrzeit of the Rambam. So it says, even though it's the halacha is not like the Rambam, that there's no mechila le'olam, but the Rambam says you can give out a certain amount of money. So that day, which was his yahrzeit, that was the day that it was his chance to pay the 300, because that's the day that the Rambam rules in Shemayim. So you see the power of the yahrzeit. On that day, the tzaddik, of course, 24/7, always the tzaddik is powerful and everywhere. Oh, he passed away before the next year. And listen, of the Rebbe. Now we'll speak about the Rebbe. Now listen, the Rebbe has a similar story. Okay, this is a story which I know My friend was in the Ohel. A guy comes, not a Chabad, from Bnei Brak, Litzvisher, and he wants to wants to get a minyan to ask Mechila from the Rebbe. He flew from Bnei Brak to New York. They asked him, what's the deal? So he was married for 10 years. This is a couple years ago. He was married for 10 years, and he couldn't have kids, so he decided to getting divorced. His wife, right before that, had a dream. The Rebbe came to her, and said the reason why you can't have kids because your husband made a perm spill in especially in the yeshivot. On perm they go crazy and they have a show. One guy gets he makes fun of rabbis. That's usually what they do. So this boy, he dressed up like the Rebbe, and he made litzanas chas v'shalom. So now what happened was he couldn't have kids, right? She had the dream 3 times. So she told her husband, and the husband discussed it with his Rosh Yeshiva, and what happened was the Rosh Yeshiva said you should go ask Mechila. And then a year later, he had a boy, a kid. I'm not sure if it's a boy. So what's the lesson we see over here? What do we see? What's the lesson of the story? That the Rebbe cared about every single Jew, even a Jew that made fun of, almost, God forbid to say, exactly. Right, like the story of one time there was one of the Chabad fundraisers. His name was Rabbi Weinberg, and he flew all around the world gathering money. One time he was friendly with people from all around the world. He got a phone call from Brazil. The guy had an urgent question for the Rebbe. Now the problem is you couldn't call the office because there was always people calling the office. My father told me that if you want to reach 770, you have to call again and again, and because olden days, if someone else was talking on the phone, they didn't go through. So again and again and again, it was hard to reach. So he sent Rabbi Weinberg, go to the Rebbe's office, and to ask this question. So what happened was, Avi, you listening? Misha, yeah, you listening? Yeah. So what happened is that he comes to the Rebbe's office. He's running. It's late at night. He wants to make it before the Rebbe goes home. What happens? He sees that the door is locked, so he sticks under the door a note with a question. And he knew that right before the Rebbe goes home, the secretary goes to the Rebbe with all the news, all the mail, and gives it to the Rebbe before the Rebbe goes home. So he was hoping the secretary would see the paper on the floor and pick up the paper and give it to the Rebbe. I'm not sure why he couldn't give it to the secretary. What does he realize? He realizes that the secretary either was inside, but I think the secretary wasn't inside. He went inside, but he didn't realize his paper was on the floor. And he's, oh my gosh, he realized the Rebbe was going to have to. Then what happened was the next day, he got an answer from the Rebbe. So he realized that the Rebbe bent down to pick up the paper all the way down to the floor. He felt bad. He stuck a paper on the floor, made the Rebbe go down on the floor. So he asked the Rebbe forgiveness. So the Rebbe said, why are you asking forgiveness? This is my whole job, to pick up from the low, especially when other people looked that over, right? So what do we see? The Nasiya, the leader of the generation, he cares about every single person, right? So yeah. Like the Moshe Rabbeinu with the sheep, and all the way to man after one sheep. So now it's Gimel Talmud. So it's time that we're into. It's like we said by the Rambam, how when the Rambam by his Yartzeit, he's Sholet in Shamayim. Same too with the Gimel Talmud, the day of the Rebbe's Yartzeit. We have to have the Sholet. We have to take in and be inspired from the Rebbe. That we should inspire and try to spread Judaism to every Jew in the world, even in a far corner. Okay, so I didn't have too much time to prepare, but this is a we spoke about it already. This is a story of Yaakov's passing. So it says in the Torah that when Yaakov passed away, Vayispid Sham Mispid Gadol, it was a big mourning. The Kavod Ma'od was very, very strong mourning. Tana, we learn Afilu Susim, even the horses, the day that Yaakov passed away, mourned. Afilu Chamayim, even donkeys. Donkeys, Chamayim. Kevan Shigiu Lemaris Machpelah. because when they came to the cave that Avram is buried with all the other forefathers, Asa Esav came. The Kama'akiv, he started making a protest. Amrlu, he told them, why is it called Kiryas Arba? Because there's in the Kiryas Arba in the city, there's 4 sets. There's 4 sets. Adam V'Chava is buried in Kiryas Arba. Avram V'Sara, Yitzchak V'Rivka, Yaakov V'Leah. Right? So we have all the 4 sets. So now, what's Esav's complaint? He buried Leah already in his part. Behind the extra space. Right? We have 4 groups. So now he did half. Now the other part is mine. Didiu. It's my part. Amrulei. So they answered Esav, Zibinte, we bought this from you. Amruluhu. It's true that I sold my firstborn. Shitusa Mizabini, but did I sell everything, my whole Yerusha? Did I sell my space in the Mars Machpelah? Amnulei. Yup. You sold to Yaakov your place in the Mars Machpelah. Yaakov told his kids, Karisi. What it means, you're going to say, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yitzhak, ain't kira el mechira. When we say the word kira in this pasuk, we mean buying. Shekem bekar chayam in places in far away. Kira and mechira kira. We call selling. We call it kira. So when Yaakov told his kids, I bought this place in Eretz Canaan, in the Mars Machpelah. So Amarlu, so Esav answered, Havali Garta, bring me the proof, bring me the shtar, bring me the contract. Amrulei Garta Barta Mitzrayim, the contract is in Egypt. He. Uman Israel. So if that's the case, who's going to go get it? Because they're in Israel now. They should want to bury Yaakov in Israel. And now Esav says, where's the contract? The contract is in Egypt. It's very far. So what happens? Who's going to go? Naphtali. Naphtali is going to go. The Kolul Kayas, Naphtali is as fast as a ayil, as a deer, as a gazelle. The Ksiv Naphtali ayala shlucha. So it says, so one of the blessings that Jacob blessed Naphtali, that he's like a deer, a gazelle, very fast, very fast. He was a very fast person. It was like as fast as a deer, or as a gazelle, very fast. Amra bavo altike imishefer ela imisefer. That what does imisefer mean? That he was so fast he could get the contract. So now what happened was like this: they're all standing. Yaakov's Aron with all the donkeys and all the horses. They're all mourning. Everything is frozen. We're all frozen, right? They want to bury it, but Esau is standing there, right? So, what do we do? Naphtali is running. Naphtali is running. Naphtali is in the middle of running. So what happens? Chushim ben Dan. Chushim the son of Dan. Haman Avi was there. His ears are very hard. He was hard for him to hear. It says he couldn't hear. It says he couldn't hear over here. Amrulu. So he told everyone around, my high, what's going on over here? Amrulei Kama'akev high. This person, Esav, is stopping everything. I guess they maybe with sign language or they told him very loud in his ear. Somehow they got the message over. So he says, He's Ma'akev high, this guy, Esav, is going to stop them till he's going to get the contract from Naphtali Mitzrayim. So Chushim said, Amalu, Va'ad Asin Naphtali Mitzrayim, he's like, doesn't make sense. Esav, because of Esav, he's going to sit there and make a protest and stop, and Yaakov is going to set his capacity is going to sit there. It's a bizayin of my father's father. Shakal Kufa, he took a stick, Machareshe, he hit his head, Nasinene, I guess it went to hit his eyes. Naflan akar the Yaakov, and his head fell off and rolled over on the lap of Yaakov. Yaakov opened up his eyes, and he laughed. Yeah. And like Ami said, in that time Rivka's prophecy came true. Why should I lose both of you the same day? In other words, they did, of course, didn't die the same day, but they were buried the same day. Even though they didn't die the same day, they both were buried the same day. So, talking about the third of Tammuz, so there's two other things that happened on the third of Tammuz. Do you know? Anybody ever know? What happened? Shem was giving them, and the sun stopped, and the Friedekamp was freed from prison. So, what's the lesson of the sun stopping? What's the lesson of the Friedekamp in prison? Maybe what's the lesson of Gimel Tammuz? So when I'm reading it, I just was thinking, I didn't prepare because I just had a baby. I didn't have time to prepare. But I'm reading it. What do we see? You see, Esav was stopping. He had a problem. But what happened at the end? No more Esav at the end, right? Sometimes when you get stuck, you get even stronger after you keep on going, right? So what happened by the sun? The sun, Yeshua told the sun, stop. We have a war right now. You can't keep on moving. He's like, excuse me? You think I'm just moving because I'm bored? When the sun moves, it's praising Hashem. The sun is not a person that does things that he wants. He's like a malach. He's totally batal to Hashem. Everything Hashem wants, he's totally notified. Hashem says move, and he's moving, never stops. Right? So the fact that everything is moving so fast and every single day, 24 hours, the whole thing changes again and again in the whole cycle. What's the bigger proof for Hashem? What's the bigger sign of Hashem? Right? So the sun tells Yeshua, what do you mean? I'm going to stop? Me moving is a sign of Hashem's power. So Yeshua says, no problem. I'll praise Hashem instead of you. So the Rebbe says, what do you mean? Who's Yeshua? He's not a sun. He can't shine. He can't do. So the Rebbe explains. He's explaining to the sun. He's telling the sun, when you're moving now, everyone can think, why are you moving? Because nature, right? Like all people think, a lot of other people, they think that nature is not a thing. But they think nature makes it move, right? But when you stop because of Yeshua and you continue moving, everybody will see that why are you moving? Because of Hashem, right? So in other words, what comes out? That your praising Hashem will come even stronger after you stop. So you stop and then move. So sometimes when you stop, when you're stuck almost, right? For 24 hours, according to some opinions. For 24 hours, it was stuck. Because sometimes when you get stuck and you move further, it's even stronger. And the same thing with the Friedekamp Rebbe. The previous Rebbe was free from jail in Gimel Tammuz. He was stuck in jail, right? Of course, the tzaddik is never stuck, but he was sort of... Yes. And then he was freed by the same people that wanted to kill him, God forbid. Those same people were the ones that freed him. Because you know who controls the world? Hashem controls the world. And therefore, Hashem can make the worst enemies of the Jews on our side. That's why Hashem put the previous Rebbe. Right. And this is also connected with the time now. People are trying to throw down monuments, right? So I'm not mixing in what's right and wrong, right? But us Jews, in the Maras HaMachpelah, we have Esav's head. Yes. So, and also like this Parshas Kerach. We have a whole Parsha called Kerach, right? Because we're not scared, us Jews, we're not scared of scary situations, right? A bad rebel, a bad person, right? We're not scared of it because we know that in every single situation when we get stuck, it's to go even stronger, right? And so too also with Gimel Tammuz maybe, right? We can't be inspired in a certain sense as much as we were inspired before. Exactly. And that's the point. That us Jews, when we remember these struggles, that we don't try to erase history because the struggle brings out even the light even stronger, right? and that is also what we're going through today. When it says when the tzaddik passes away, he's even more alive than in a certain sense when he was physically alive. Like it says, you just learned Yaakov opened his eyes and laughed, right? So the tzaddik doesn't really ever pass away, right? Yaakov opened his eyes, but even when he was already being buried, because the tzaddik, when he passes away, especially a tzaddik, it's not about going lower. Everything is getting closer and closer to Mashiach. Everything that happens is even a higher level, right? So the closer we get to Mashiach, we have the passing of a tzaddik. It's to give us even more strength and more power to get closer to Mashiach. And how do we get close to Mashiach? By spreading Yiddishkeit. We were saying before, the Rebbe's mission was getting Yiddishkeit to every single Jew, how low he is, wherever he is, in any place he is, because what's Mashiach? Galileanness everywhere, right? And that's the point. That's the message of the Rebbe that he instilled in every one of us. Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's our choice. It's our choice if we choose to join the bandwagon, the Rebbe's wagon, towards Mashiach, right? It was Yisrael. He was a son from David. Even it was a king. Yes, like David. So that's lesson of today of this Gemara, that Yaakov Avinu, it says Yaakov Avinu lo yimes. Yaakov Avinu didn't pass away because of especially by a tzaddik. What's a tzaddik? A tzaddik is the message and the mission, right? And that is always going to stay alive, right? The question is if we are going to join, right? It says Ma zara b'chaim afu b'chaim. Why is Yaakov alive? Because his kids are alive. Because we're alive in his spirit, in his message, right? So today is the passing of the what? Exactly. So of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So especially in the day of the passing is a day that we're meant to be inspired by the Rebbe and go in his footsteps to make sure that all the Jews we know in every corner of the world, if we know them, if we have their contact on our phone, we see them in the street, we have to spread Yiddishkeit. Make sure to pick up all the Jews to connect them to Hashem, to spread godliness everywhere, and then we'll have Mashiach finally. It's time already. Yep. Okay. Have a good day.